She was just cleaning. Until the blanket moved and the tiny alien froze in fear. Emma Rodriguez wiped the sweat from her brow as she packed the last of her research samples into the storage container. The evacuation order had come through that morning, and she had only hours to secure her xenobiology lab before the corporate extraction team arrived. 3 years of work on Kepler 442b, and now the mining consortium was shutting down the research station for good. The cleaning supplies scattered across. Her workbench needed organizing before she could seal the lab. Emma reached for the bottle of sanitizer tucked behind her microscope when something moved. A tiny figure, no bigger than her thumb, tumbled out from behind the container and lay motionless on the metal surface. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The creature was unlike anything in her research files. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent blue-green hue, and delicate wings lay crumpled against its back. 4 arms, each perfectly proportioned, ended in hands that looked almost human. The being's chest rose and fell in rapid, shallow breaths. "Oh my God," Emma whispered, her scientific training warring with pure amazement. She'd spent years studying the planet's microbial life, never expecting to find sentient creatures this close to the station. The tiny being's large eyes fluttered open, revealing pupils that shifted from silver to deep violet. Terror filled those alien features as it spotted Emma looming above. It tried to scramble backward, but collapsed, clearly injured. Emma's heart raced. First contact protocols demanded she report this immediately, but something in the creature's expression stopped. Her fear, pure, desperate fear that reminded her of a wounded animal seeking shelter. "Hey, it's okay," she said softly, moving slowly to avoid startling it further. "I won't hurt you." The being didn't understand her words, but her tone seemed to calm it slightly. Emma noticed dark fluid seeping from its left wing, and one of its arms hung at an odd angle. Without thinking, she reached for her emergency medical kit. "I'm going to help you," she murmured, using tweezers to carefully examine the injuries. The creature flinched, but didn't try to escape Dot as Emma worked. She realized this discovery would change everything. The mining consortium would want to capture and study this being, probably in ways that would terrify the small creature even more. The evacuation suddenly seemed less like an ending and more like a countdown to something she couldn't allow to happen. Emma had managed to delay the evacuation by claiming equipment malfunctions, buying herself precious time. The tiny being, whom she'd started calling Zeph after the gentle way he seemed to float when he moved, had been hiding in her quarters for 2 days now. His injuries were healing remarkably fast. Emma had fashioned a small splint from medical tape and wire, and the wing membrane was already showing signs of regeneration. What fascinated her most was his intelligence. Zeph watched everything she did with keen interest, his large eyes tracking her movements as she worked. "You understand more than you're letting on, don't you?" Emma asked, sitting cross-legged on her bed where she'd created a small safe space for him. Zeph tilted his head, then did something that made Emma's breath catch. He pressed one tiny hand to his chest, then pointed at her. The gesture was unmistakably an introduction. "Zeph," Emma said, pointing to him, then pressed her hand to her own chest. "Emma." The small being's mouth moved, producing sounds like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Ma." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, that's right, Emma." She pointed to him questioningly. "Zephyr," he said, the name flowing like music. "Zephyr, Zephyr," Emma repeated, smiling. "It's beautiful." Over the following hours, their communication evolved rapidly. Zephyr proved to be a quick learner, picking up basic words and concepts with startling ease. He showed Emma how his people communicated through touch, placing his small hand on her finger and sharing emotions directly. The sensation was overwhelming. Emma felt his gratitude, his fear, but also something else, a deep loneliness that resonated with her own. She'd spent years studying alien life forms, but she'd never expected to find a connection this profound. "Why were you hiding in my lab?" Emma asked during one of their sessions. Zephyr's expression grew serious. He gestured toward the floor, then made a series of intricate movements with his hands. When Emma looked confused, he took her hand and then pressed it to the metal wall. Through their connection, she felt something incredible. A vast network of life beneath the station, hidden from human detection. "There are more of you," Emma breathed. "You're not alone." Zephyr nodded solemnly, then shared another emotion: protection. He was trying to protect his people from the humans who would soon arrive. The weight of that responsibility was crushing for such a small being. Emma made a decision that would change both their lives. "I'll help you," she said, meaning it completely. "Whatever you need." The trust that flowed between them in that moment was unlike anything Emma had ever experienced. Emma's hands trembled as she followed Zephyr through the narrow maintenance tunnel beneath the research station. He'd grown stronger over the past day, and his ability to communicate had expanded dramatically. Now he was leading her to something he claimed would change everything. "The others don't know about you," Zephyr explained as they crawled through the cramped space. His English had improved remarkably, though he still spoke in the melodic, whispered tones of his people. "They fear the surface dwellers. You are different." The tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber that took Emma's breath away. Bioluminescent plants covered the walls in intricate patterns, casting everything in a soft, ethereal glow. The air hummed with life, and Emma realized she was looking at an entire civilization that had existed right beneath their feet. Hundreds of beings like Zephyr moved through the space, tending to gardens, caring for young ones, and maintaining what appeared to be sophisticated technology grown from living organisms. They were beautiful, graceful creatures, and Emma felt honored to witness their hidden world. "This is why you were in my lab," Emma said, understanding flooding through her. "You were monitoring us." Zephyr nodded, his expression grave. "The mining machines. They will destroy everything if they dig deeper. My people have lived here for thousands of years, but we are not many. We cannot fight your kind." Emma watched the peaceful community and felt her heart break. These beings had been here long before humans arrived, and now corporate greed threatened to destroy them. She knelt beside Zephyr, bringing herself closer, to his eye level. "I won't let that happen," she promised. "But I need to understand more. How did you learn our language so quickly? How do you know so much about us?" Zephyr's wings fluttered nervously. "We have been watching, learning. Some of us believed we should make contact, but the elders forbade it. Too dangerous." "And you disobeyed them?" "I believed there might be good ones among your kind. I was right." The simple faith in his words moved Emma deeply. She reached out instinctively, and Zephyr climbed onto her palm without hesitation. The trust between them had grown into something precious and rare. "The evacuation ships arrive tomorrow," Emma said. "Once they're gone, the mining operation begins. We need to find a way to protect this place." Zephyr looked up at her, his violet eyes reflecting the bioluminescent glow around them. "There is a way, but it requires great risk. And it would mean you could never return to your people." Emma felt the weight of that choice, but as she looked around the sanctuary, she knew what she had to do. "Tell me." The healing chambers deep within the sanctuary pulsed with warm, golden light. Emma lay on a bed of soft, living moss while Zephyr explained the process that would change everything. The biotechnology of his people could temporarily alter their physical forms, allowing them to take on characteristics needed for survival. "The transformation will let me appear more like your kind," Zephyr said, his voice carrying a note of uncertainty. "But Emma, if I do this, there is no going back." My people will consider me lost to them. Emma reached for him, her fingers gentle as she stroked his delicate features. Are you sure this is what you want? I want to protect my people, but I also want ... He hesitated, then placed his small hand over her heart. Through their connection, Emma felt his emotions. Love, pure and overwhelming. I want to be with you. The confession hung between them like a bridge across impossible distances. Emma had never imagined she could feel this way about someone so different from herself, yet their connection transcended physical form. I love you too, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. God help me. I love you. The transformation began at sunset. Emma watched in amazement as the bioluminescent chamber enveloped Zephyr in streams of living light. His small form began to shift and grow, the process both beautiful and terrifying. When the light faded, a young man stood before her, tall and graceful, with the same violet eyes and iridescent skin tone that marked him as otherworldly. Emma, he said, his voice now deeper, but still carrying that musical quality. Do I frighten you? Instead of answering, Emma stood and walked to him. He was beautiful in this form, alien yet familiar, and when she reached up to touch his face, his skin was warm beneath her fingers. You're magnificent, she breathed. Their first kiss was gentle, exploratory, two beings from different worlds, learning to love across the vast distance between species. Emma felt the same connection she'd experienced when he was small. But now, it was deeper, more complete. They spent the night in the healing chambers, holding each other and planning their impossible future. Emma had made her choice. She would stay with Zephyr and help protect his people, even if it meant sacrificing her own world. The mining ships will arrive soon, Zephyr said as dawn approached. We must convince my people to let you help. Emma nodded, then kissed him again, pouring all her love and determination into the connection. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The council of elders gathered in the heart of the sanctuary, their luminescent wings creating a shifting kaleidoscope of colors in the sacred chamber. Emma stood beside Zephyr, feeling the weight of hundreds of eyes upon her as she prepared to speak for his people's survival. The mining operation will begin drilling in 6 hours, Emma explained, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I can disable their equipment from the inside, but only if you trust me. Elder Siren, the oldest of Zephyr's people, stepped forward. Her ancient eyes held centuries of wisdom and deep suspicion. You ask us to risk everything on the word of a surface dweller. How do we know this is not a trap? Emma felt Zephyr's hand slip into hers, his support flowing through their connection. Because I'm staying, she said simply. I'm giving up my life above to protect this place, to protect all of you. The elders exchanged glances, communicating in their musical language. Emma caught fragments through her bond with Zephyr. Arguments about risk, debates about trust, and underneath it all, a desperate hope that she might be the answer to their prayers. The mining foreman is someone I know, Emma continued. If I can convince him that the geological surveys were wrong, that the mineral deposits are deeper than expected, we can buy time to create a permanent solution. Elder Siren approached Emma, her small hand reaching up to touch the human's face. The connection was immediate and overwhelming. Emma felt herself being judged, her memories and intentions examined by an ancient intelligence. You love him, the elder said, surprise coloring her voice. Truly love him. With all my heart, Emma replied. The elder's expression softened. Then you understand what sacrifice means. Very well. We will trust you, Emma of the surface world. The next few hours passed in a blur of preparation. Emma changed into her research station uniform, while Zephyr's people worked frantically to relocate their most vulnerable members to deeper chambers. The mining ships had arrived, their massive forms blocking out the sun as they descended toward the landing pad. Emma walked back to the station, her heart heavy with the weight of what she was about to do. The mining foreman, Jack Morrison, was an old friend from her academy days. Convincing him would require lying to someone she cared about, but the alternative was genocide. "Emma," Jack called out as she approached the mining complex. "Thought you'd evacuated already. What are you still doing here?" "I found something," Emma said, forcing excitement into her voice. "Jack, the mineral deposits aren't where the surveys indicated. They're much deeper, and the geological structure is unstable. If you start drilling now, you could collapse the entire site." Jack frowned, studying her face. "You're sure about this?" Emma nodded, praying he wouldn't ask for proof she couldn't provide. "I need more time to complete the analysis." "Can you delay the operation?" After what felt like an eternity, Jack nodded. 48 hours. "But Emma, if you're wrong about this—" "I'm not wrong," she said, and in a way she wasn't. The most precious thing on this planet was indeed much deeper than anyone suspected. That night, Emma returned to the sanctuary and to Zephyr's arms. They had bought time, but the real work was just beginning. Together, they would find a way to protect his people while honoring the love that had brought them together across the stars. Their story was just beginning, and Emma knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one.